Alright, welcome back. It's been about a year since I've done my last feature series video, and this one has been in the works for almost that amount of time. Behind me, I have my buddy Junior's 440i. This is an M Sport. It's a super solid spec, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and if you'd like to submit your car, you can go ahead and email me down below or shoot me a DM on Instagram. Without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so Junior.
What's up, man?
We've been friends for, I don't know, like 10 years or something?
10 years probably, middle school.
Maybe?
So, yeah.
So, we used to sit and play Need for Speed.
After school, and then go back to school and yap about cars, talk about Miatas, the G's, all that stuff.
S2K, this dude wanted an S2K.
I wanted S2000 for the longest time.
So, fast forward.
I ended up with this fucking piece of shit. This is my 2017 BMW 440i, pre-LCI. I didn't get lucky enough to get an LCI, but full M Sport. It's Alpine white on coral red interior. I feel like it's the perfect spec. Tyler calls it the prick spec, and I mean a prick ended up with it, so yeah. Car's lowered. It's on H&R Super Sports. It's on cookie cutter wheels. Everybody loves these wheels.
So we're on the ARC-8s here.
Yep.
If you guys know me, you know how I feel about these, but you know what? It's whatever. I really like this car. He's plotting on some other wheels, so I'm gonna just, hopefully we'll see that at some point, but there's nothing wrong with good old ARC-8s. There's a reason everybody runs them. Yeah. They're good wheels.
I mean, I waited 4 months for them, so I got them brand new. I had to wait. I got them probably 2 weeks after I bought the car, and then didn't get them till like Christmas time. So I guess it was my Christmas present to myself.
Right.
They're the these are the most aggressive specs you can run on non-M F series.
Okay.
So it's a 19 by 9 in the front, 19 by 9 and a half, and I think the front's a 28 offset, and then the rear's at 33.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty aggressive, actually. How do you feel about the overall kind of ride height of the car?
So the ride height's pretty good. I mean, it's not slammed on its nuts like the E36s that Tyler drives, but it's pretty low. I don't really scrape on anything. The only thing that gets caught up on stuff is the lip, but that's with every car that has a lip and it's lowered.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good enough ride height where, I mean, your girlfriend can fucking daily this car, so
right.
You'd be fine, you know? You don't have to worry about it coming back without
You could drive it to the city. Yeah. You don't really have to worry about that kind of thing.
Sometimes, because there's those fucking
those hills are crazy. All right, so this car's pretty well set up. And before we even talk about the spec, how did you get into the 440, and what was kind of the push or the drive that got you into this chassis in particular? These have seen a lot of popularity in the last few years. So
I started off with an F30. I had a 328. Thing was full bolt-on, you know. It was what it was. It wasn't fast, so it didn't look that cool, but my buddy ended up, you know, it was time for him to move on from the car, and I was in the market for a new car. It was either this or an F80 or an F82. I probably made the wrong choice, but yeah. I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm not paying M taxes. Right. I mean, you can get parts from a 428 and they bolt right up.
So that's why I think that the major appeal to these cars and their popularity probably kind of stems a little bit from that.
You're paying $200 for a battery on this car, where on M cars are like, fuck, they're like $2,000 for a battery. Yeah, if you want something that's turnkey, your heart doesn't sink to your ass every time you start the car in the morning when you hear the gong. Yeah. Get a B58 or an M55.
So it's been pretty reliable.
Yeah, it's been pretty reliable. I mean, the only hiccup I had is it went into limp mode once because it freaked out because I left the door open for too long. Right. So. Okay, so no mechanical faults. No mechanical faults, no nothing. And and for the spec, you weren't necessarily shopping for the spec. It just happened to be kind of. Ideally, this was the spec that I wanted. Right. It had to be white on red interior. Okay. Mainly because of the Adam LZ though. It has to be because
it is the Adam LZ spec. It's the signature spec.
Yep, but it's the prick spec now. So.
But obviously, this is the spec, and we'll talk a little bit more about his options on the interior of the car. But for exterior, let's just kind of go over. We've talked about the wheels, the suspension. Is there anything else on the car that is notable to mention that you've added?
So in the front end, it's got carbon eyelids. It's got a black splitter. I didn't do carbon because I didn't want to bottom out the car and explode a fucking $700 splitter. It's got M grills on it. This car came equipped from factory with adaptive LEDs. Okay. But I didn't get the cool icons with like the lines and stuff in them.
And is that like a LCI thing?
That's LCI.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
So this car is pre-LCI, like I mentioned earlier. Right. It's got a little like kind of M Performance style side skirt on it.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah, 3.6 stickers, man.
Oh yeah, I gotta re-up on these. I didn't want to feature that because his sticker's all torn up, but it has been on the car for a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like a year now.
Okay, so I need to get him a new sticker, but those will be coming soon.
These side spats are custom. I got them off some guy on Marketplace. He has a wide body car and he just for some reason decided to get rid of them. These are LCI tails, OEM.
Right.
However, you can see there's no lenses on them.
So this is what I want to talk about the most.
Smashed.
I will say this will be the most controversial thing in the comments for you. I didn't even realize that that's what this was. I just thought he had clears, and then he said that there was no lenses.
No lenses.
And I looked.
You can see the red stuff in there.
And there's no lenses. But they're good, because even with the lights and stuff, they're not like...
They're LEDs, so I mean, if I turn them on, you could probably see them. They shine right through and they look fine at night, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's got a carbon fiber diffuser, carbon wing, M4 styled. I do want to switch over to an M4 trunk, because it's more kind of like a CSL style. Right. And it's got the two grooves coming down the middle.
A little bit more formed.
Yeah, and it lines up with the wing, so everything looks like nice and cleaned up, you know? Yeah. Exhaust, I mean, these are tips from the exhaust shop, but exhaust is stock for the most part. It's got the muffler, it's got a resonator delete, and it's catless, and Tyler knows, it's pretty loud. Yeah, so this car is pretty loud.
When I had a 340, like this was years ago at this point, which is crazy to think about. When I had my 340, I think I just did it was like a dual resonator delete.
Yeah, dual resonator delete.
And it sounded crazy. This car being catless additionally sounds insane. Like, this car is so fucking loud. The camera won't pick it up, but when he did a anti-lag launch, it sounded like we were in a tunnel, but we were outside. So this car is really loud. But it's not, I feel like it's only pretty loud when you romp on it and you really get on it.
Yeah, it's only loud when you get on it, but I mean, cruising around town, you hear it, but it's not like in your face loud, like it's not blowing your eardrums out. It's just like a nice sound, like while you're driving around town and you're just mobbing with your friends or just mobbing by yourself and you're just cruising. Right. It's a perfect sound.
It's dailyable.
Yeah, it's a dailyable sound. I mean, if this car probably didn't have a muffler, it'd probably be obnoxious and like take it out every now and then, you know?
All right, so we have a very clean engine bay. Not used to that owning a 36.
It's got a VRSF downpipe. It's all under this plastic and stuff, but the car has a Gen 2 pump from the Supras and the M340s. Okay. And it has a CSF heat exchanger, not an intercooler, because this isn't an M55. Right. We don't mess with intercoolers anymore. But yeah, this thing boogies. It's tuned on MHD. It's on a E50 map right now. It's making close to or a little over 450 to the wheels.
Because you had this car dynoed.
Yeah, this car got dynoed. So that's not him just
no, I'm not bullshitting.
I'll send him the clip so you can see him. I'll send him the dyno sheets and everything.
Yeah, no, this car was dynoed at close to 450.
450 and then 500 foot-pounds of torque.
Wow. All right. So any plans to make this thing faster, or are you content with the number?
Yeah, so I'm content. I mean, 450 for the wheel is more than enough here.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I'm spinning, you know, on the freeway and shit, but if I did want to make more power, I could, but I don't know, it's just the fast car stuff, there's always a bigger fish. Someone's always going to get you back.
You gotta pay to play.
You gotta pay to play, and I mean, I'm still young. I mean, I can dump money into this shit all I want, but I feel like I want to get out. I want to move out. I want to get a place, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Have a house with this shit parked in the garage would be pretty sick.
This is why this is smart. Yeah. So that's kind of why, like, we bring up the fact that this is, you know, like, it's an alternative to the M car if you're considering it, because while it's, I mean, a lot of people will just go ahead and stretch for the M car, but as you mentioned, you really got to think about it. Yeah. There's a lot of elements that make this car cheaper from an owner's perspective. Yeah,
I mean, all the suspension components, freaking, and if you spin your crank hub, you know, like that's a motor, you know? True. If you, I mean, we had one of our friends, we were going to San Francisco and he bottomed out his car. He got lucky, insurance cashed him out and fixed it, but I think the bill from BMW was like 15 grand. And he was going to pay out of pocket, but he made it work with the insurance and he got lucky. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to have a B58 put back in this car for 15 grand. No, I'm gonna say like 7 grand at most.
Yeah. So I mean, really, it's like
half the price.
And I would say, generally speaking, with everything on this car, it's safe to assume most everything's like half price.
Yeah, I mean, lips for M cars are almost $1,000, you know? Right. Lips for this car like 500 bucks. I mean, I feel terrible if you're driving down the road and you blow up like a $1,200 lap to lip. you'd probably feel like shit, you know, on the way home. You don't have that lip.
I mean,
anymore.
you feel like shit blowing any lip up, but when it's not $1,200, it is less painful.
Yeah, I mean, someone's check just came fucking flying off your car, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to me, it just made more sense, and it just seemed more responsible to get a B58.
Right.
I mean, not responsible, but just a better option to get a B58 than an M car.
Right.
So with this car being an M Sport, you obviously get the M Sport steering wheel. It's a little more aggressive. I think it's better. Feels better in your hands. Red interior, red doors. It's extended leather, I guess, for the F3X. It comes all the way up. It's got this like stainless steel kind of style
like
trim
a
on
brushed
it.
kind of
yeah,
thing?
I've never seen it on another car. It's got black trim under it. It's a Harman Kardon car, so you know that's always mandatory on BMWs.
Absolutely mandatory on a car that's as new as this.
Yeah,
you have to have Harman Kardon.
So this car being a 2017, it didn't come from factory with Apple CarPlay, but I'm pretty sure 2016 F3X or F8X and up all have the ability to have Apple CarPlay coded in, but you have to go and get that done by somebody who knows how to code these cars.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how. Every time I open Beamer code, terrified, man.
Yeah, but it's something that's codable.
Yeah, it's something that's codable. I don't think it's codable through Beamer code though. It has to be something that's done by somebody who knows.
And some sort of external module.
Yeah,
right? You don't.
I think there's an external module that has to be added to the car for Apple CarPlay to work, because this is wireless. And I mean, most new cars are all wired right now. So yeah, I mean, this is like the perfect interior. Like, I feel like it's perfect for a daily, you know? For sure. You got that flashy red look. You got Apple CarPlay, which makes syncing your phone like seamless. Harman Kardon, Larry June sounds fucking amazing in here.
I was born in 91, product of the dope game. 50s, Camaros, cuts when we swing.
But yeah, this interior is pretty. It's probably like the main selling point. That's why.
For sure. That would have been for me too. Same thing. If this was me, the red would have sold it.
The red is mandatory. I mean, if it wasn't red, I probably would have skipped out on it.
You know, and a lot of people say that they're like, you know, all red's kind of like douche color, but dude, if you got the spec and it shows up, you're not passing on it.
Yeah, no. Especially on like that white and red is like so iconic. Like it always just works. Always. On every car, man. It's not just these cars.
For sure. But the leather in these cars is really, really good.
Yeah, it's better than that E90 squishy.
Yeah. This is, I would say, that is another thing. So like the E90 generation cars have more of a soft touch, and this is like kind of a, I don't know, like a, I don't want to say it's plastic.
It's more like a rubber composite.
It's a firmer material, so I feel like if you're coming from an E90 or that generation, so like the 5 Series even, like the F10 even, or the 1 Series, they all kind of feel, I don't know, I don't want to say more comfortable, but these cars are definitely a little bit different.
I feel like these are built a little more to last, you know?
Right, they're a little bit more robust. Like you don't have the, as long as I don't think so. Yeah, you don't have like that, you know, the door panel or the handles kind of.
Interesting fact about the door handles. So I think it affects all cars, but it gets better as the car years go on. So I had my 328 was a 2012, and this door handle was, I mean, it was non-existent anymore. It was just goo at that point.
Right.
You touch it with your hand, it'd be all over your hand. This car, I mean, it's brand new, you know?
Yeah. So how do you feel, and actually while we're kind of on the subject, how do you feel about the market of these cars? Do you feel like it's kind of a good buy, a bad buy? Are there alternatives that you would focus on if you were buying one of these cars all over again?
If I was buying another one all over again, I would probably do, I mean, a lot of people are going to put their heads down and be a little butthurt, but I'd probably do a 340 instead of a 440, because there's not that much support for these cars. There's like probably 2 different diffusers, 2 different splitters.
Okay, so as far as exterior stuff,
it's just everything underneath is all the same though. Diffs, trans, turbo setups, all that shit's all the same. But if you want one, they're coming down. I got them when they're super high up, so I kind of messed up. But if you want one, they're coming down in price. And if you don't have the money to throw at a B58 right now, but you want a good badass sounding 6-cylinder, a turbo BMW N55 335s or 435s are just as good. Right. I mean, look at Sebastian's car. His car sounds nasty, you know?
Yeah, that car's sick.
Yeah. Then I wanted a 335 before this. I wanted a F30 335, but I mean, my shit just lined up and
Right.
this car kind of fell on my lap.
And that's kind of how I ended up with my 340 when I had purchased my 340.
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, the car's treated you well. You got some great mods on here, and you have some great future plans for the car.
Yeah. Hopefully do some stuff here before Lake 2.0.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I'm going to be out there this year.
But, okay, well, I guess the last and final thing we need to do is just get some clips, drive this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Fuck out of it. Let Tyler drive it. He needs to drive it.
I'm good, man. When he did the anti-lag, I drive it maybe makes 190 wheel horsepower. My E36, the drift car.
Yeah.
I think I'm all right, dude, but but I don't know, maybe. But I'm gonna rig up the GoPro. Hopefully I get you some good cockpit driving, and we'll get some more flybys and stuff, and that'll be it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Big thanks to Junior for coming out, giving us his time, showing off this car. We've been waiting to get this done for a long time. So hopefully we see more of this car very soon. And I don't know, hopefully eventually I'll get into an F80 and the camera will be flipped around on me and I'll be able to, you know, show off an F80 or something, but I'm working on that. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. You can request for a feature if you're super interested and you're local to Sonoma County. I will be happy to shoot your car as long as it's somewhat interesting and it's kind of falls within the channel. But yeah, let's get some clips. Dude, you're playing with some shit. Bro, open is crazy.